Imagine standing in a field in Ireland, a place so green it almost hurts your eyes. Now, picture that same field in the mid-1840s. The vibrant green is gone, replaced by a black, rotting mush. The air, once fresh with the scent of rain and earth, is now thick with the foul odor of decay. This isn't just a failed crop, it's the beginning of a catastrophe that would change Ireland and the world forever. This is the story of the Great Hunger and Gortamar. Before the famine, Ireland's population was booming, reaching over 8 million people. A significant portion of this population, especially the rural poor, depended almost entirely on one single crop for their survival: the potato. The potato was a miracle food. It was nutritious, easy to grow in small plots of land, and could feed a large family with very little effort. For many, it wasn't just part of their diet, it was their entire diet. For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, this incredible reliance, this monoculture, was a ticking time bomb. And in 1845, the fuse was lit. A mysterious blight, a fungus called Phytophthora infestans *, arrived from North America. It spread through the country like wildfire, carried by the damp Irish winds. In a matter of weeks, potato plants would wither and turn black, the tubers rotting in the ground. The first year, about a third of the crop was lost. Panic began to set in. But many hoped it was a one-time event. They couldn't have been more wrong. The blight returned in 1846 with even greater ferocity, wiping out nearly the entire harvest. The year after that, and the year after that, the devastation continued. The lifeline of millions had been severed. What followed was a humanitarian crisis of unimaginable scale. Starvation wasn't a slow, quiet process. It was a brutal, visible assault on the human body. People grew skeletal. Their skin stretched tight over their bones. Diseases that prey on the weakened, like typhus, cholera, and dysentery, collectively known as famine fever, ran rampant through the starving population. Entire villages were wiped out, the silence of death replacing the sounds of community. Eyewitness accounts from the time paint a horrifying picture: families found huddled together in their final moments, children with the cry of the banshee from hunger, and roadsides lined with the dead and dying. Now, you might be thinking, where was the help? Surely, someone did something. The answer is complicated and deeply controversial. Ireland at the time was part of the United Kingdom. Governed from London, the British government's response was slow, inadequate, and crippled by a rigid ideology of laissez-faire. The belief that the government shouldn't interfere with the free market. They believed that providing free food would disrupt trade and create dependency. Instead of direct food aid, they initially set up public works programs. Starving, emaciated men were put to work building roads to nowhere and famine walls in exchange for a meager wage, which was often not enough to feed their families. The physical labor only hastened their decline. When this failed, soup kitchens were established, but they too were often poorly managed and temporary. Charles Trevelyan, the man in charge of famine relief, famously said, "The judgment of God sent the calamity to teach the Irish a lesson." This attitude highlights the prejudice and misunderstanding that shaped the tragically flawed relief efforts. While the potato crops failed, other food like grain, cattle, and butter was still being produced in Ireland. Heartbreakingly, much of this food was exported to England and elsewhere, often under armed guard, passing by starving crowds. For the Irish people, watching the very food that could save them being shipped away was a profound and bitter betrayal, a memory that has been seared into the national consciousness. Faced with starvation, disease, and eviction by landlords who wanted to clear their land for more profitable grazing, people had only one desperate option left: emigration. This began one of the largest and most tragic migrations in human history. The ships they boarded, often poorly maintained and dangerously overcrowded, became known as coffin ships. Conditions below deck were horrific. Disease spread rapidly in the cramped and sanitary quarters, and it's estimated that tens of thousands died during the treacherous journey across the Atlantic. They weren't seeking a better life, they were fleeing certain death. Those who survived the journey arrived in places like Canada, Australia, and, most famously, the United States, with nothing but the clothes on their backs and the trauma of what they had endured. They poured into cities like New York, Boston, and Philadelphia, forming the backbone of a new Irish diaspora. They faced discrimination and hardship, often living in crowded tenements and taking the most dangerous jobs. But they were survivors. They persevered, built new communities, and forever changed the cultural and political landscape of their new homes. Their story is a testament to the incredible resilience of the human spirit. By the time the blight finally eased in the early 1850s, the damage was catastrophic. Ireland's landscape was irrevocably altered. It's estimated that over 1 million people had died from starvation and disease. Another 2 million had emigrated in less than a decade. The island's population had been reduced by a staggering 25%. Entire communities had vanished, and the Irish language, already in decline, was dealt a near-fatal blow as its speakers were disproportionately affected. The Great Hunger left deep, lasting scars on the Irish psyche. It fueled a sense of grievance and nationalism that would shape the fight for Irish independence in the decades to come. It created a global Irish family, a diaspora that now numbers over 70 million people worldwide, all connected by this shared history of loss and survival. Today, memorials to the famine stand not only in Ireland but all over the world, from the haunting figures on the Dublin quayside to the memorial in Boston's downtown. They remind us of the empty fields, the tears of the diaspora, and the incredible strength of those who survived. They serve as a powerful warning about the dangers of dependency, prejudice, and political inaction in the face of human suffering. The story of the Great Hunger is not just Irish history, it's a universal human story of tragedy, resilience, and the enduring power of hope against all odds. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. It's a difficult story to tell, but an important one to remember. If you found this video meaningful, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel for more deep dives into history. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care.